Hey guys, Vol here. Last weekend I was at a Warhammer Fantasy Battles event called Canopener. It was a one-day, five-game Warhammer event, played at 1,600 points per side, very limited army comp system, but it was a charity event, and as the name Canopener implies, the purpose of the event is to bring along cans that you've bought from wherever, maybe the supermarket, and donate them to a charity such as City Mission, which looks after, say, poor families in the city of Auckland, and also the Canterbury Christchurch earthquake appeal. As you guys know, over the last 6 months there have been a lot of earthquakes in the city of Christchurch, which is in the South Island of New Zealand. I'm up in Auckland, which is in the North Island, so I've been unaffected by that, but a lot of people have been, and each year the club that I play at has this annual charity event. So luckily I have had time off work to make it to the event. It'll be my first time appearing at it. I've taken Skaven at 1,600 points, but the main difference is that for every can that you bring to the event, you are able to keep those cans at your table and sort of donate one can to re-roll one failed dice roll. And obviously you can't do that more than once on one particular roll, but you can use as many cans as you want throughout the game to re-roll anything. Could be the dice for the first turn, spells, could be attacking, damage, ward saves, regens, spell rolls, you name it, and that means the more cans you have donated to the charity, the more likely you are to do better at the tournament. But obviously you've got to pay money to bring the cans yourself and do that. But what's great about this idea is it encourages everybody to do so, because if you don't bring cans, you're not really going to compete in the tournament, but it sort of gives you a fun way to participate in that, and really just gives you so much sort of encouragement, enthusiasm for actually doing something good for charity. So that in mind, I brought along 120 cans for the event, which was way more than anybody else did. Most people brought, say, 20 to 30 cans, and I did that because I had the spare cash for it, and I wanted to help, and I wanted to have a good time with the event too. And on top of that, I've taken the nastiest, cheesiest Skaven list I could possibly think of, very reliant on good luck, but I wouldn't really need good luck this event because I had so many cans to roll. So unsurprisingly, I did pretty well at this tournament, but you've got to take that with a grain of salt. There were only 14 players at the fantasy event. It was only one day, only 5 games. It's a low points value, and the games themselves are kind of trivial because the mechanics of Warhammer are so sort of enhanced by the, shall we say, lack of a nicer term, with the dice roll can re-roll mechanic. Anyway, I'm going to take you through the games very quickly. I'm not going to dwell on each photo like I normally do, but I'm just going to do a really sort of fast-paced slideshow sort of affair. First game is up against a guy called Patrick, I think that was his name, with Wood Elves. He's got Way Watchers in his army. He's got a Treeman, Glade Guard, Dryads, some Treekin. In my army, I've got the really nasty stuff. I've got the Abomination, I've got the Furnace, I've got a Grey Seer, I've got 1 unit of gunner rudders. You weren't allowed to take 2, but there's the 1 unit. I've got 2 units of 40 slaves, and straight away turning the guys on the hill with the Flaming Banner into rats with the Dreaded 13th spell. It's nothing much my opponent can do about that when I've got Warpstone tokens, that I've rolled for, as well as extra ones that I've taken in my list, just to ensure that if I want to throw 10 dice at Dreaded 13th, it's going to get off. If it miscasts, I can re-roll the bad result if I get one, and if I take wounds with my Grey Seer on the ones with the Warpstone, well, I can re-roll those. So there you have it. The main threat to the Abomination is eliminated, and the Abomination itself just driving around. I managed to sort of steer past the Tree Man, just moving outside of its vision of arc, and generally just thrashed this guy, unfortunately. He didn't bring a lot of cans, so I was able to really clean him up, and by the end of the game I'd wiped out I think everything but his Tree Man. No, I'd actually killed the Tree Man as well because I used Crack's Call on it, and really just wiped everything out. So that's basically how all of these games sort of tend to shape up. Got his Way Watchers with Scorch as well, which is quite fun. They were running away. But just generally coming down to Dreaded 13th spell on everybody every single game, which is a pretty cheesy way to win. But just to remember, guys, a bit of a trivial sort of just for fun sort of tournament, which a lot of people didn't put too much stock in. A lot of the better players that normally show up at the tournaments, weren't there as well. So next game up against Wood Elves as well, and seeing that he had his level 4 mage and a BSB in the unit of Glade Guard straight away. I managed to get the first turn. I may have used a can to reroll the result, and as expected, dreaded 13th on his guys, which was quite funny because he was about to teleport away with the Moonstone of the Hidden Ways and get to safety, but he didn't get that opportunity. He's got a Truman in his list as well, so he's moving around with that one, but yeah, after that first turn was a bit of a shocker. It was basically clean up after that. He had his Treeman and his Treekin, which I was a little bit worried about, but after I got stuck in against the Slaves and the Plague Furnace, I was able to just hold them there and wipe everything else out, and eventually get into maneuvering positions where I could beat those guys in combat as well, and deal to them. I'm not too sure if we got 6 turns in this game, but my plan was to move it back around the other side after the Hell Pit didn't really have much to take out, and just nail what I could, and eventually the Hell Pit has taken out the Wild Riders at the end there. So game 3 up against Phil and his Demons. He's got a proxy list this time, 30 Bloodletters, or 24 Bloodletters though. Again, I got the first turn. This is meeting engagement, and Doom Rocket Gutter Runners and Dreaded 13th whittled the demons from 24 Bloodletters down to about 5. He's got a unit of High Elf Dragon Princes there, which are meant to represent Flesh Hounds, but the Hellpit Abomination got stuck into those guys straight away. He'd rolled a 1 for his Horrors and his Fiends and his Flamers, which you saw at the back there before I'd taken them out. The Fiends aren't actually there; they're just on a group of 4 bases. There was no painting requirement for this tournament, so that's how he went. His Herald of Tzeentch had Glean Magic, so he was trying to dread a 13th me, but luckily my Gracie survived and went to safety, and the Furnace managed to take out his Horrors. Well, yeah, the whole unit except for the Herald by the end. And then game 4 up against Wood Elves again. So this is the 3rd time up against Wood Elves this event. He's kept right at the back. He's scared to death of my cheesy army and my huge can of huge tablet of cans, so to speak. So he's playing this very cautiously. What was really annoying this game is that I put my Plague Furnace through a forest, rolled a 1 for the dangerous terrain, and then re-rolled it with a can and still got a 1. So the Furnace took D6 wounds, and I rolled a 6 for it, which actually crippled it. Probably should have used a can on that one as well. The Doom Rocket did a fair bit of damage to his archers, but the real clincher at the end of this game was me heading over and using Dreaded 13th yet again on his lone mage, which he'd left the unit, and you can see it there, just a lone rat, which used to be his mage. And there have been secondary objectives for each of these missions. Sometimes you get more points for getting a choice into your opponent's deployment zone. For this one, it was double points for the enemy's general, so that is what tipped the scales and allowed me to win. You can see the Hellpit Abomination trying to fight the Treekin there. Anyway, last game against Thomas. Thomas done very well with his Orcs and Goblins. It's Watchtower, and he's controlled the Watchtower with 20 Goblins, so it might be quite hard to shift them, especially if the Trolls head into the Watchtower as well. But I got first turn here, charged with the Plague Furnace and killed half the Goblins. The Abomination's gone ahead full speed. Moved the Warlock Engineer with Doom Rocket around to the back of his lines with Skittle Leap, but didn't manage to kill enough guys. So he's countercharged me with all of his Orcs here, and his Orcs had the Flaming Banner, so that put me in a world of hurt, especially when he cast buff spells on his Orcs to clean them up. But the Abomination lived for 1 round and massacred a whole bunch of Orcs after that, and then predictably a turn later I was able to use Dreaded 13th on the remaining Orcs, including the BSB, and wipe them out. He'd left that unit with his 2 Goblin Shamans, but my Plague Furnace, after assaulting the building and unsuccessfully, headed round the building and chased them off the board, where I think eventually got into combat with them. I think I spent 3 or 4 rounds assaulting the building with death-frenzied rats and slaves and stuff, but I didn't quite kill the Trolls. He ended up with, I think, 1 Troll with 2 wounds on it at the end of the game. His Boar Boys of Animosity charged my horde of slaves, so they got killed as well, but that was it. I got a draw against Thomas, but I was so far ahead with battle points I managed to win this one and win the tournament predictably. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of fun. Not a proper sort of series of battle reports. I didn't really want to sort of go to great length doing them since they were pretty one-sided, cheesy sort of games, but I just thought I'd like to report on what the event was and what happened. And I had a really good time at it. I hope everybody else did as well, and hopefully the cans that have been donated, it turned out to be something like 1,000 or so cans, was probably going to be a good thing for a lot of people out there that really need them. So thanks for watching this, guys. I'll catch you later.